welcome everyone to this very special event at VanderCook College of Music. My name is Bonnie Campbell, and I am the Director of Applied Studies and also the clarinet professor here at VanderCook, and I'm delighted to welcome you all. It's really a pleasure for me to be able to introduce one of my colleagues, our very own Dr. Julie Goldberg, who's prepared this wonderful masterclass entitled Enhancing Fingerstyle and Classical Guitar Techniques. Just before I more officially introduce her, I just want to mention a couple of procedural things related to the class. First of all, we wholeheartedly invite you to keep on your video for the entirety of the class. This allows everybody to be fully engaged and I think learn as much as possible. And I know Dr. Goldberg wants this to be a very interactive class, so please, we would really appreciate you being open to keeping your video on. Also, if you'd like to ask any specific questions, you can write them in the chat, and Dr. Goldberg will try to answer them either along the way or at the end of our time together. Dr. Goldberg joined VanderCook faculty back in 1999, and it's been my great pleasure to be her colleague for many years. And in fact, she has inspired me to get out my guitar that I played back in junior high, and hopefully I'll learn a few things here this evening, so I'm very excited about that. Dr. Goldberg received her doctorate in music performance from Northwestern University, and I believe she was actually the first person to receive that degree from Northwestern. And she also holds degrees from Roosevelt University and the Cincinnati College Conservatory. She is the head of the Chicago Community Classical Guitar Orchestra, and she conducts VanderCook's annual Day of Guitar, which is very affectionately known as DOG on campus, and is a wonderfully successful event that we always appreciate every year. She's a sought-after clinician all over the country, and she has even taught internationally, including in Vietnam. She performs regularly as a soloist, and with her wonderful group, the Avante Guitar Trio. She's author of 100 classical guitar lessons published by Hal Leonard, and she's arranged many educational guitar ensembles. So that's just a little bit about her, and without any further ado, I'll turn things over to her.
There we go. Thank you, Dr. Campbell, and thanks for that wonderful introduction. Welcome, everyone. Good to see you. Good to see a lot of faces. Hope everyone has their guitar with them. So whether you're a teacher or a student, my goal is to give you some tips and hopefully help your fingerstyle guitar technique today. We've got a handout that I think is in the chat, but when we need to get to it, I'll also share it on the screen. And, you know, we're going to do a lot of playing. I won't be able to hear you necessarily, but I'll be able to see you. Okay. And, but I think to start off, I'll do some playing. So the main topic today is arpeggios. Okay. Arpeggios, broken chords, and we're going to dive right in. So to start, I'd like to play a really wonderful piece by Andrew York called Snowflight. And it's a piece that's great for developing your ascending arpeggios. So I'll just get right to it here. Okay, well, thank you. So we're going to work on that. We're going to work on that and we're going to play that. Well, portions of it. Okay, so just to get us all on the same page here, when we're talking about right hand fingering, P for pulgar, thumb, I for index, M for middle, A when we get there for annular or ring finger. We're not going to use our pinky, so it's P, I, M, and then A. Okay, so let me share this handout with you, just so we're all on the same page here. There we go. All right, so can everyone see this right here? All right, so I've taken the liberty of writing out. Oh, if I could get, well, that's fine. I'm taking the liberty of writing out our music in notation and in tab. Okay, so if you're not that fast at reading guitar, notation on the guitar, no worries, we can read the tab. Okay, so just a reminder about tab. The top line right here is our highest string, our first string. The bottom here is our sixth string, the lowest. Okay, all right. So the piece I just played, Snowflight by Andrew York, is all an ascending arpeggio. Okay, it's all P, I, M. All right, so I thought we would get started, and maybe I could give you a couple pointers on how to get your arpeggio louder and faster and more relaxed. All right, so for right here, we see we have our thumb is on our G string, our index is on the B string, and our middle is on the E string. So we're playing the thumb on the third string, index on the second string, and middle finger on the first string. Okay, so it kind of looks like this. Okay, so so does everyone do you need this up here, or do you have a, can you down, I guess, look at it through the I mean, or can you like look at it on your own computer? Let me know. What do you think? Should I keep it up here? Yes. Just keep it up. Okay, we'll do. All right, so, but make sure you can, I just want to make sure you can also see my hand here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my thumb on the third string. My index is here on the second string. My middle is on the first string. Now, to get a good free stroke, meaning a free stroke is a stroke that doesn't touch the next lower string, but escapes the next lower string, I want my wrist to be a little high, okay? So put all your fingers there. And if you already know how to do this, that's great. We'll just even review. And the only way to get better is to go back to the basics. So here we are. My fingers are there. I play my thumb. Index relaxes and stays on the string, as does middle. I play my index finger. It relaxes. And I play my middle finger. That's a good question. Are we in tune? Can I, let me know if you need any tuning pitches. I kind of figured in the day of tuners, everyone got that. All right, so just in case, here's our E. And here's our B. And here's our G. Those are the ones we're going to use first. Let's do that one more time. E. B. G. Here's our fourth string D. Our fifth string A. And our sixth string E. Okay. Let's see. Okay, now I can see everyone a little bit better. Just gonna adjust my screen here. All right, fantastic. Okay, so I've got my thumb on the third string, index on the second, middle on the first. So whenever I start my ascending arpeggio, I put all my fingers down. And then I play one and let the other two play my thumb, and the other two stay put. Then I play my index finger, my middle stays put, then I play my middle finger. Now my hand is totally relaxed. Okay, so as I do this, you can probably see that my thumb comes through and kind of makes a little bit of a cross there. A bit of a cross with my index finger. And then my index finger comes towards the palm of my hand, but not into the palm. And then my middle finger does the same. So I get P, I, M. And when I play an ascending arpeggio, I put all my fingers down on the strings. When I put my fingers down on the strings, my thumb is a little bit in front of my fingers. So I like to say that my thumb is inside the sound hole, and my fingers are behind the sound hole. I play my thumb, my other two fingers are on the strings. I push my index finger in a little bit, in towards my belly, actually. And I do a little scoop. Middle finger pushes in, then a little scoop. Okay, so the reason we have to push in is if these are our strings, and our strings are just hanging out here on the guitar, the only way to make our strings louder and to get a louder pitch is to displace the string from its plane of rest. So I could displace it this way, but that is this, and that's super ugly, right? If you displace it away from the guitar, you end up snapping, okay? You can't go to the side much. You can't go this way much or this way much because there's the other strings. But what you can do is push in. So I push the string in towards the back of the guitar. I like to think towards my belly button. And then I relax. And as I relax, I make this little scoop motion where I come towards the palm of my hand. Now, I like to say towards the palm of my hand because I don't want this. I don't want my fingers all caught up here because then it takes a long time to get them back out. So it goes towards the palm of my hand and then relaxes. Okay? So let's try here. My fingers are on the strings. I play third string, second string, first string. Put my fingers down again. Third string, second string. Put my fingers down again. So every time I play, I put my fingers on the strings. So right before my thumb plays, index and middle are already on the string. Okay, let's go slow. Plant them all down, and then P. Now we're going to plant them all down. Plant them all down. Okay, so I hear that I really shouldn't talk over while at the same time I'm playing. So we're going to do this together. And we're just going to plant our fingers down right before we play, but we're going to try to keep our rhythm very even. Okay? So. All right, let's try our example here. So here, the only difference is we play with our thumb on the third string. Then our thumb moves to the fourth string, moves to the fifth string, and then goes to the sixth string, and then we'll go back again. Okay? Here we go. So thumb on the third string. Fourth string. Fifth string. Sixth string. Now again, at the beginning of each arpeggio, I put my fingers on the strings they're going to play. So that would be called preparation or planting. Okay, so if anyone wants to like kind of put their like their camera on the right hand, I will be happy to observe what we're doing here and give any comments. Okay, so let's do it again. 1, 2, ready, go. Third string. Great. All right. So, I mean, I do have to say my tone is great, and it's because my guitar is great, number one. But also, Because I'm using my fingernails. Okay, so I have some fingernails on the tips of my fingers. I think you guys can. Where's my camera? Can see that. Okay, but you don't have to have fingernails to get a great tone. You just want to make sure that you're playing on the very, very tip of your finger. Very tip of your finger. Okay? That you don't want to play down here on the pad. You want to play on the tip of your finger. On each finger, try to be as much on the tip as possible. Okay? So that you're balancing on the string on the tip of your finger. Not here, but here.
And can I ask a question?
Sure.
When you're talking about the tip, I know you mean the tip. Are you closer to like the side of your finger, or are you in the middle of your tip?
That is a great question. Great question, Stephanie. So towards the left side of your right finger. Towards the left side of your right finger. Okay, so it's on this left edge here. So yeah, if you went straight across, it would be, you'd get kind of a
yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So a little bit to the left. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's try that again. We're going to go a little faster. Okay, so plant everything down. And here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, well, if you have that much, you're ready to play Snowflake, but we're not gonna stop there yet. Let's look at our next example here. Okay, so our next example illustrates what I like to call SSFS. Skip a string, skip a finger. Sorry, I guess it's SSFF. So skip a string, skip a finger. I'm gonna play the fourth string with my thumb. The index finger is gonna play the third string. And then my ring finger, A for annular, my ring finger is going to play the first string. So I have a hole, I'm skipping the second string. Okay, so I put down P, I put down I put down A. So thumb is on the fourth string, index is on the third string, ring is on the first string. Plant those guys down. What's your middle finger doing? Nothing, it's just hanging out nice and relaxed. Same concept where I put my fingers on the string, and then I plant them back on the strings before I play the next arpeggio. Okay, so we're going to play this pattern here, which goes P, I, A, thumb, index, annular, fourth string, third string, first string. Then our thumb moves to the fifth string, sixth string, back up to the fifth string. We'll go nice and slowly. Here we go. 3, 4, 1. Okay, so same idea that we put our fingers on the strings and then we have a good starting point and then we play one at a time. So we plant and then play one at a time. The reason for SSSF, skip a string, skip a finger, is because we don't want to stretch our hand out if we don't have to. So we'll be more accurate if we have like this position where we have a natural gap between our fingers for the gap in the string. It doesn't always work, but when it does, it's very comfortable. Okay? So, we started using our A finger. Let's do that one more time. 3, 4. Great. So with some practice, you can probably get that to go nice and quickly. So let's look at our third example here. Okay, since we started using our A finger, well, let's play an arpeggio that goes thumb, middle, ring. Thumb, middle, ring. Okay, now middle to ring, I mean, I think that's a hard coordination because these guys on my hand and most people's hands, they don't like to separate very much. Okay, so honestly, if I have an option to play a different combination than PMA, I probably will, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't, practice this and get these to be independent. There's no reason they shouldn't be independent, but in daily life we don't usually use our A finger all that much, so it's kind of at a disadvantage. Okay, same idea. Thumb's on the third string, middle's on the second, ring or A finger is on the first. Okay? Again, plant your fingers down at the beginning of each arpeggio. Here we go. 3, 4. So this tool of planting, of putting your fingers down, works so well with an ascending arpeggio. And if you're a beginner, it helps you know where the strings are, and your success rate's much higher. If you're an advanced player, I still use it because it gives me that stability. And sometimes you start playing and you might be a little shaky just because of the nerves, or you really want to get a very, very good tone. You're able to get the tone because you place your finger first before you play. So you want to place the finger first, and it's nice that we can place them all at the same time. I'm sorry. And then we know we're going to get a good tone because we're right on the tip of the finger. Sometimes you don't want to plant, okay? Because the disadvantage of planting, there's a disadvantage. Here's a disadvantage. Okay, listen to this. Did you hear it? Well, my guitar keeps ringing, but it's that the notes stop ringing. So if I planted here, you hear a little bit of a cutoff, right? If I don't plant, it's more continuous. The sound is more continuous. So planting does cut off the sound of the arpeggio of the strings you've just played. But sometimes that's a good thing, especially if you have a chord change. Sometimes if you're going slow enough, it doesn't matter. Sometimes if you're going fast, it's just great because it clears the sound and you can not have as much ringing as you play. But sometimes it gets in the way. So there is another way to play that's not planting, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit when we do our descending arpeggios. All right, so if we take a look at Snowflake here, right here, we actually have all we need, basically, not really all we need, to play the piece, okay? So, for us new to music reading, 12/8. 12/8 means we have 12 eighth notes in a measure. And usually 12/8 is grouped into 4 beats of 3. I'm sorry, yes, 4 beats of 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. It's a nice way to write triplets. So it's 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. And you can see that the only arpeggio we need to use here is the PIM arpeggio. So Andrew York, fantastic player, fantastic composer, played with the LA Guitar Quartet for a lot of years, still out there playing and doing wonderful things. And if you have a chance to check out his music, this excerpt comes from his collection 8 Discernments, which are great student pieces. They're not beginning pieces, but they're not the hardest pieces either. So I use them a lot for my students. Helps with technique, and this one's, like we see, is great for our arpeggio. Okay, so let's take a moment. We're going to play together. I will know this, that we're playing, because I can see you. Some of you. Okay, so let's start together, and we're going to play slowly. Read the tab, read the notation. Is it big enough? Is everyone doing okay with that? Okay. All right, here we go. So at the beginning of each arpeggio, plant. At the beginning of each arpeggio, plant. 1, 2, 3, da, da, 4, da, da. Oh, that's great. I'll do it better. 1, 2, 3, da, da, 4, da, da. Okay, let's stop there for a second. Did you notice in the third measure, we had to move our fingers? First, we started off with I and M, I on the third string, M on the second string. Then we got to the third measure, I moves to the second string and M to the first string. So I'm going to have the feeling of first here and then here. So it's like this chord, and then I plant this chord. Another wonderful thing about planting is that it helps you find where the strings are. Okay, let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, da da, 4, da da. Okay, so we made it. We made it to here. Good? All right, so with some practice, you can see that this would be a great piece, beautiful piece to play, but also an excellent etude to work on your ascending arpeggios. Cool, before we move on to our descending arpeggios, let me just check in with you guys. Any questions about their ascending arpeggios or anything? I'll stop the share for a second. Okay, cool. So we have with us Miss Cindy Tovar, and she is our director of admissions. And I'd like her to we'll let our brains and our fingers rest for a second and hear from her for a second.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to say hi. I wanted to introduce myself. I'm the director of admissions at VanderCook, and I'm here if anyone's interested about VanderCook and what we do here, I'm available. I will put my email in the chat, and I'll just kind of hang out. I'm having a great time. I'm so jealous, though, because we started the guitar program right after I graduated from VanderCook. So I never got a chance to do any of this, but I love the guitar, and Dr. Goldberg is one of my favorite people. So you guys are in for such a treat. So go ahead and have fun, and I'm here if anyone has any questions.
Great, thank you, Cindy. Thank you. All right, good. So I just took a quick look into the chat and just wanted to make sure that everyone's good and able to see the music that we've put up, like when I share it, or otherwise you can get it in the chat. I think the music has been downloaded to the chat. Okay. Right. Okay. So if you can't see it on the page, not to worry. All right. Let's talk descending arpeggios. All right. So I'll play a piece. Well, actually, let's play first and then I'll play a piece. Okay. So when we play a descending arpeggio, we don't have the luxury of planting. We don't have the luxury of putting all of our fingers down. So the best thing we can do is get our finger on the string just a little bit early. Okay, so I'm going to play a descending arpeggio. I'm going to start with my thumb. Then I'm going to play my A finger, my middle, and my index. Thumb, A, M, I. And like Stephanie pointed out for us, we play on the side of our finger, just a very little bit of a side, slightly to the side of our finger. And when we're playing our descending arpeggio, the best way to get a good sound and to get some control is to touch the string first. So I play my thumb. As soon as my thumb plays, my middle finger's on the string. As soon as my middle finger plays, I'm sorry, let me say that again. I play my thumb. As soon as my thumb plays, my A finger's on the string. As soon as my A finger plays, my middle finger's on the string. As soon as my middle finger plays, my index finger's on the string. So our arpeggio is P, A, M, I. And what we're doing is we're just kind of placing on the string a tiny bit, like a nanosecond if I really knew what that was. We're just placing on the string a little bit early. Okay? And that gives me some stability and also the time to put my finger on the string and push in before I relax and play. That's how we get our louder sound. Okay, so let's just try that a few times. I'll just kind of show my hand as an example and give it a try. So just playing P, A, M, I, and I might move my thumb from the 4th string to the 5th string to the 6th string. So watching a couple of us play, just one thing to mention is that your thumb moves from string to string and your fingers, as much as possible, stay right over the strings that they're playing. So that as I play, my thumb is moving independently, right? So my thumb opens up and moves independently. And my fingers stay pretty much above the strings they're going to play. That way you don't have to keep on trying to find the strings again. So I open up my joint here, my thumb joint, so that I can get from string to string. Cool, let's try that a few more times. Here we go. Okay, so the piece that we're going to play, or start to play, that uses this descending arpeggio is Etude number 6 by Leo Brouwer, okay, from his Etude Simples. Beautiful pieces and phenomenal teaching pieces. All 10 etudes are great for your students. Great concert pieces. Wouldn't be bad for, an audition or solo and ensemble fest. So it goes like this, and it's all this AMI, this PAMI arpeggio. So what a master that Leo Brouwer is, I tell you. I love all of his music. So let's take a look at this. Okay. We actually were already playing this arpeggio right here. We played P-A-M-I, P-A-M-I. Okay? And this is the pattern for the arpeggio for the Brouwer Etude number 6. Don't worry, it's not that bad. Okay, don't worry. Let's see if I could do something here. Okay. All right, so here we are. Okay, so if you can see this, or look at the sheet on your own, we have thumb on the 5th string, A on the 1st string, middle on the 2nd, index on the 3rd. Okay? And we keep going that way, P-A-M-I, A-M-I. Here's our thumb, now moves up to the 4th string, and our A finger moves to the 2nd string, and then we come back down. Okay, let's try this nice and slowly. All right? Okay, so I'm going to get nice and close here. All right, so thumb on the 5th string, A on the 1st, middle on the second, index on the third. P, A. Now my thumb's on the fourth string. A, M, I. Sorry, I got a little lost there. Let me try it again. Okay, thumb on the fifth string, A's on the first string. Here we go. P, A, M, I, A, M, I. Thumb's on the fourth string. Here's the tricky part. A is now on the second string. Touch the second string before you play it. And we can start again. So right here, this moment right here, where your A finger goes to the second string, if you can plant your finger down early, if you can get your A finger onto the second string, you're guaranteed to play the rest of the arpeggio correctly. It's a great place to just relax and put your finger on the second string and know with confidence that you've got the rest of the arpeggio. Okay, so let's go again from the beginning of this exercise. So thumb on the fifth string, A on the first string. Now my thumb's on the fourth string, A's on the second string. Here we are at the second measure. Thumb's on the fourth string, A's on the second string. Let's do it again. All right, so see if you can exaggerate the early planting of your finger. This would be called sequential preparation, that we get each finger onto the string just a little bit before it plays. So you're touching the string right before you play. All right? So try to exaggerate that. And let's play it again. Here we go. Thumb on the fifth string, ring on the first. Let's try to speed it up, but in segments. We're going to speed it up, but we're just going to play one measure. So we're going to end right here with our thumb on the fifth string. All right, so just a tiny bit faster, and then when we get to that thumb on the fifth string, beginning of the second measure, we'll stop. Here we go. 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E. Relax. Okay, let's do it again. 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Do it again. 3 E and a, 4 E and a. So eventually, your speed meets up with your preparation. Eventually, you're not actually getting onto the string early because you're playing fast enough. But by preparing, you're like practicing playing fast while your tempo is still manageable. Okay? And I tell you, this planting, either the total plant, the full plant, or the sequential plant, it's helped me out of many a bind. You know, I get, like, I would say 80% more notes in performance because of planting than if I didn't, because I have a sense of where I am on the finger, my fingers are on the strings, and I have a good sense of where my tone is going to come from, and then I'm always touching the same place because I'm always planting on the same place with each finger. Okay, so any questions about the sequential plant? Okay, we're going to put it together. All right, we're going to put it together here, and we're going to start with a full plant, and then we're going to do a sequential plant. So we're going to start by ascending, and then we're going to descend. So my arpeggios, P, I, M, A. Okay, so I put all my fingers down, I play P, I, M, A, and then I come down, M, I. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? All right, so make sure you're relaxed and you have a little bit of an arch here. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm really accentuating after I play my A finger that my middle finger is on the string right away. And then after I play my middle finger, my index finger is on the string right away. And a slower tempo, you have a lot more time to make sure that's happening. Let's do it again. And this time, our thumb's going to go from the 6th to the 4th, the 6th to the 5th to the 4th. Okay, here we go. So on the way up, all my fingers start on the string. Then on the way down, each finger touches right before it plays. So probably one of the most famous and often played etudes that use this arpeggio is this etude in E minor by Giuliani. Okay, so we have P-I-M-A-M-I. And we have all the tab here, or we have the notation. Let's see. Could play just a little bit of this for you. So we get the... So it's a great arpeggio practice that incorporates both the ascending and the descending arpeggio. And it's a very, very popular arpeggio pattern. Okay. So let me check in with you guys. Questions, comments, thoughts? Maybe? Okay, so fingerstyle playing and classical playing have this in common. Of course, arpeggios, right? And I've had so many students who are fingerstyle players come and take and study classical techniques and classical etudes because that helps their fingerstyle playing, okay? Whether you're playing on a steel string or a nylon string. And that just... the more you can do, on any style playing, the better. Really, the better. See, let me just mention something about our scholarships here at VanderCook. I mean, I'm so lucky to have taught here maybe 20 years. Of course, I was 12 when I started. But VanderCook is so supportive of me and of guitar in general. So we have guitarists who play in guitar ensemble, who play in jazz band, who play in chamber ensemble. Of course, our guitarists also put down their guitars and pick up an orchestral instrument to play in orchestra, a band instrument to play in band, and to sing in choir. So our guitarists are making so much music because they're making music on the guitar, and then also they're making and learning music on orchestral instruments, band instruments, and in choir. So they do a lot, in addition to, of course, learning to play piano and theory and history and all that. But they really have a good identity here at VanderCook. We have the Day of Guitar every year but this year. And now we have a Day of Guitar Junior, and that's made possible because of our students. So our VanderCook students are there getting hands-on experience, teaching, working with younger students, and seeing how this all goes. Our guitar ensemble performs regularly, and we also have the community guitar ensemble, which is open to our VanderCook students to join. And I just love that because then we get this melding of generations, and we have our adult amateurs playing in the community guitar ensemble, and our VanderCook students coming in and, you know, being teachers and being able to practice their teaching on really, really kind and thirsty people for knowledge, thirsty guitarists to really just soak up any information and to be so supportive of our students. So as Cindy mentioned, we do have lots of scholarships available to guitarists, and I can tell you, VanderCook values their guitarists here. So it's wonderful the support they've given the guitarists, and the scholarships are generous, and you know, some of them are talent based, some of them are academic based, and we're happy to open our doors to more and more guitarists. Oh, did I mention that also a lot of our guitarists play in the jazz band? So we also have a jazz band where the guitarist plays, and jazz combo, as well as a student-led mariachi band where a lot of our guitarists are playing all types of fretted instruments. So it's a lot to do at VanderCook for our guitarists, for sure. Cool. So let me just check in with you guys if there's any questions that you might have or thoughts about guitar or VanderCook.
I can ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're teaching small kids, the thumb thing tends to be a problem with when they hit the thumb, then many of them tend to keep the thumb kind of in the air, but in a tense manner.
Yeah.
What would be a good exercise? I know my teacher had me do exercises where like I will strum that thumb, and then he will have me go through a whole motion of a circle, doing kind of like a circle with my thumb,
Mm-hmm.
and then always landing on my index finger in a lightweight. But I was curious of what would usually you try or recommend?
Well,
because I know that once you strum with your thumb and that thumb gets tense, the rest of the fingers kind of immediately also take that shape of tension.
Oh, exactly. So one thing is that you want to ask your students to put their fingers. So yeah, they're all fingers, thumb, index, middle, but I refer to my thumb as my thumb and my fingers, index, middle, annular, as fingers. So I would have them put their fingers on the strings, like index on the second string, middle on the first. And then when you play with your thumb has to move by itself. Okay. I mean, I've been known to, get like a finger puppet on, my thumb and, talk about all kinds of characters moving around for the young kids. But if you have these fingers here, then your thumb doesn't do this, right? Then it's moving from the big knuckle here. So you can just play and then take a break. Play, then take a break. So that kind of idea of playing and then relaxing. But I do find that putting your other fingers on the strings for some support limits the amount of motion you move from your arm, and that's part of the problem playing fingerstyle because, our hands are big and clunky and our strings are small and delicate, and if we start moving, we can't find them easily. So get some point of reference by always having some finger on a string somewhere, and then you can relax more easily. Does that help? But definitely a lot of this kind of stuff. Maybe some like, but keeping these guys right here. Yeah. Good question.
Dr. Goldberg, I also have a question about how would you teach a student who's just beginning to come to the guitar as far as interfacing with the instrument itself and holding it?
Oh yeah, that is definitely one of my favorite topics. Okay, because being a classical guitarist myself, I know, and being short and having short legs and short arms. I have limitations, unlike some of my students who are 5'7", taller. Guys who can just basically sit like a pretzel and play well. Okay, but I find and I like the classical technique of sitting where the guitar is up on an angle. Now, sometimes you'll get some feedback from your students that, no, I don't want to do that. I don't see anyone on television doing that. I don't see, well, on YouTube now. But if you get your guitar strap, you can get in the same position. The idea that the neck is higher, okay? And usually, this might be a little high for most people, but this is eye level. So maybe higher, this is a little bit higher than most. Okay, now you can do this a couple ways, like I said, with the guitar strap, with a footstool. I think I have one. Oh, mine's kind of stuck on there. With a footstool, or I have this cool little device right here now. I don't know if you see it. It's like this guitar lift, so that it just sticks. Don't worry, it's not hurting my guitar. It just sticks on with these little suction cups, and then they come off easily. Maybe sometimes too easy. And then it raises the guitar up, and I can just put the guitar on my left leg. And then the guitar's up, my shoulders are straight, okay? And I can sit this way for a long time. Also, if you're teaching, right, your students can look at you instead of being down here, all day, okay? So I'm a big fan of getting the neck up, and I would say every semester I have at least 6 students in my guitar techniques who will come up to me individually and say, I can't play guitar because my hands are too small. Well, if you're like this, if you're playing like this, your hands might be too small. But once you do this, you can stretch so much further. So your hands aren't too small. I mean, my hands are small, okay? But it works. It all depends on the sitting position, okay? Now, like I said, if you have some very tall students, they can manage this no problem because their hands are nice and wide, and they can stretch. But it really puts a strain on your wrist, and so they can probably do it, up until their 30s, right? And then things start to hurt, and you see guitarists generally moving this way eventually. Yeah, great question. Cool.
Thanks so much.
I have a question also related to finger tension. When I play, especially as I start to go faster, my right pinky kind of like does this weird thing. And so I had to, how do I stop that? Because it's been a big problem.
So that's if that's an indicator of the tension. We don't use the pinky, right? So it's not really hurting your playing, except it might be limiting the motion of your ring finger.
Yeah, it's just, I don't notice it until my hand starts to cramp because it's at such a strange angle.
Yeah. So I think what that's telling you is that the tension's building up in your hand. So I would play a lot of speed bursts. If when you start playing you feel nice and relaxed, and then you don't know why, but all of a sudden you're like this and you're not relaxed and your pinky's out here. Somewhere the tension creeped in. So whatever you're working on, like if you're working on this, just play and stop, and make sure you're relaxed. And then see if you can go and relax, and relax. So it sounds like it happens over time. So what you want to do is, and this takes some patience here, but to play and then relax, play and then relax. And then see if you can play, a whole measure and then stay relaxed. And then 2. So think of it more as a game than as I gotta relax, because then of course that doesn't really work very well. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
But I can't say that there's anything, it's not usually anything technically per se, especially unless you're kind of like this when you play. That would cause tension too. Yeah, I can't really see your right hand, but
I'll think about it. I'll think about the rest. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And maybe be sure you can we can jump on a Zoom call later time and talk about that too. No problem. Cool. But good question, because you do see that a lot in guitars where their pinkies come up, and that's just an indicator of tension. It doesn't mean that your pinky's tense. It just means that things have gotten to a point where there's some tension somewhere. Mm-hmm. Oh, Cynthia wears high heels on her left foot, then take off her right shoe, okay, instead of using anything to raise her left foot. That's an idea. I would need really high heels because my legs are really short. But instead of using the footstool to wear shoes that have a higher heel, that's an idea. Or if you have very long legs too. I know many tall people who don't need to use a footstool at all. Good thought. Cool.
There's one more question.
Okay.
So, do you have any extra tricks on how to work out your fingers for arpeggios? So one technique I remember that was helpful for me to develop like a little more strength in my fingers. I felt that my tension when I had my pinky up came from my ring finger being kind of weak. So to overcompensate for that weakness, my hand was trying to add strength by adding the pinky, and because they both are connected by the same,
yes,
that didn't help. But something that helped was my teacher had me put a cloth that created extra tension right here and just practice the arpeggios. And it was almost like, going to the gym and lifting weights with my fingers type of thing. And it was extremely helpful. After that, I would take the cloth out of here, and my fingers, like playing without that tension, was like, oh wow, now it feels like so much better. Is there any other exercises? I know there's people that do those.
Yes, yeah.
Have those, or is there anything else you could suggest to strengthening?
Okay, so it's like a little bit larger topic because I don't think we need strong fingers. What you need are fast fingers, but not strong fingers. Okay, so if you just put your fingers out here, the faster you can do this, the faster you can do that, the louder you can play. Okay, so if you go like and play really quick, so this is part of the planting. If your finger's on the string and then you play and relax, play and relax. So my finger's on the string, play, relax. Play, relax. The beginning of each stroke is where the volume comes from. So if we play quickly, we play the stroke quickly, or we're still in rhythm, but we play the stroke quickly, then that's where the energy is. So when you were playing with the cloth here and damping the guitar, you can also do that by just putting your hand like this. That what you were doing is putting more force into the beginning. You were playing the beginning of the note with more energy. And that's perfect because that's all you have to do. You play the beginning of the note with energy and you relax. Play, relax. Play, relax. If I could say two words at once, be play, relax. Okay? So, excellent, but I don't like to think of strength, and I have to say I really dislike those things, those balls, because, our fingers they're great and they work really well, but they're not big muscles, we don't have big muscles here, and I don't want to take any risk in stressing them out, so instead I'm going to think more of moving quickly and then relaxing. One thing you could do to strengthen, like the pinky, actually I was thinking about this, Stephanie, with the pinky. Okay, the pinky's trying to help your A finger, and we don't usually use our pinky to play, but you could practice playing with your pinky. If you alternated from middle to your pinky is going to help your middle finger get stronger, because now your middle finger is developed on this side and on this side. So I went for a long time, I had a big fingernail on my pinky, and I would practice everyday scales with that fingering, and I'd play arpeggios with my pinky. There's a thought that Villalobos played with his pinky, that his music used a pinky, which is totally revolutionary. But okay, I digress. But I just have to say this one thing. So guitarists came from the lute players, and lute players started off playing thumb index only, thumb index. Okay, then we get into the classical era, and we start to get thumb, index, and middle. Okay, not our ring finger yet, just thumb, index, and middle. Okay, then maybe it was the flamenco players, but by the time we get to Targa in the late Romantic era, he's writing or he's teaching about using his A finger. So if we went from thumb and index to thumb, index, and middle in the late Renaissance to the classical, and then in the Romantic we got into our A finger from classical to Romantic, I do think it's probably you guys and your students who are going to start getting us into using the pinky. Okay, so go for it. So I love it. Sometimes I'll have a student, who is self-taught, and yeah, they're just using their pinky, and it's working fantastic. I'm like, okay. So now you have 5 fingers to work with instead of 4. But doing a little exercises with your pinky will strengthen your A finger on this side, and that might also limit the tension here, especially if the tension is coming from your A finger being a bit weaker. Yeah, great questions, really great questions. Cool. All right, well, thank you guys so much for spending part of your Tuesday here. On the handout is my email. Okay, so I hope you'll feel free to contact me about any questions about guitar VanderCook, or just about guitar. I know we have a lot of great teachers here too, so if you have any questions about your students, or we could even arrange some type of a virtual, if you guys are still virtual presentation for your students, let me know if you're interested in that, and just keep in touch for sure.
Thank you so much, Dr. Goldberg. We really appreciate it. I learned so much, and I'm going to spend a little bit more time with my guitar here. Really, thanks for the inspiration.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you, Dr. Campbell, for hosting, and for Malou and Patrick for making the technical everything work so well. So thank you all for that. All right. So keep on strumming.